Welcome back, and today we're playing out the SU-7 at 9.0, and this thing is honestly criminally undertiered. I'm not entirely sure why people call this thing bad, because it's supposedly a bomber. We get absolutely imploded by some 50 cals, and then we run down the entire enemy team. The size is honestly the only disadvantage that you really have in this lobby, and of course not having flares. But we have 6 S-24s that we will use on airburst to kill all the pilots, but it also works occasionally to use as flares. Now of course you don't want to dogfight something like a Venom, but you will be able to stick with it once you're on its 6, and then you simply dive out and zoom away, as we are Mach 1 capable with some absolutely nuts acceleration. Subsonics stands absolutely no chance versus this thing, except when it's something like an Ajit or something and they shove a Shafrir up your ass. That's really the only thing you have to care about. Overall, you can just zip around without a care in the world and gun people down with your 30 mils that have a lot of filler. But the S-24s have even more filler. They're not S-21s that are basically like a firecracker, or potentially kind of like your NR-30s. The S-24s is basically like lobbing a hydrogen bomb at a newborn baby that happens to be coughing. He is not hydrogen bomb resistant and just explodes on the spot. And as you can tell, even with damage, I'm just able to third party everyone. I can zoom away, I can go up, I can go flat. It doesn't really matter where I go, because no one is going to be catching me. Now I run the S-24s with 1,000 meter on the airburst, and I do have to kind of get used to it. This is the first game that I did, so you can see that I'm kind of inaccurate. But they still work decently well, depending on the plane that you're shooting at. If I'm merging with something like a Saber, I mostly shoot these things at about 1.4 kilometers. If I'm going Mach 1 and he seems to be going max speed. But it's all down to altitude, it's all down to the speeds and the planes that you are shooting at. And overall, you just have to kind of get used to it, but once you do, they are incredibly powerful. And of course you can use them as flares that we do use occasionally. But at 9.0 the Matchmaker is actually pretty forgiving. And even when you get up tier to 9.3, you do run into planes like the F-104s and the Electric Lightnings. But honestly, they are not a major issue. The F-104s, especially with the new flight model, it loses a lot of speed. Yes, it has good acceleration, but that's really all it has going for it, together with the Vulcan and of course the roll rate. But you can just kind of jink it and then pull one direction, and chances are the F-104 will only get a very short shot on you. Here we go again. Come into the Venom that we hit earlier. That's one of the only times that the guns didn't do any damage. I have some more clips at the very end here, but overall the only inconsistency that I've had is when I'm shooting old legacy 9.0 top tier jets. So think about Venoms, Sabers, stuff like that. The second you start shooting bigger planes or just heavier planes, these guns absolutely shred. And my theory is that it just overpans on these small airframes, and the second you start shooting something that's a little bit thicker, the ball of oatmeal just simply explodes. But really the plane is kind of one-dimensional. You can dogfight in it depending on the planes you're facing. It's not the most nimble, but it just has energy for days. And even with the damage, just again, look at my speed, it doesn't really drop that much airspeed if you conserve it. Now if you really just stamp on the elevator at medium to low speed, yes, it will shit away all of its energy pretty quickly, but that's just because this plane is absolutely massive, it's heavy, and it's a functional air brake, because it actually does pull a decent amount of AOA. It is a little bit sluggish and you do have to get used to it, but it doesn't really matter, as you are just so fast and you have so much power that people don't really get to contest you anyway. Now of course when you get up tiered and you run into supersonics, they will be able to push you into subsonics. More of that in the game after this one, and you'll instantly see that this thing is a little bit flawed. But it's one of those planes that just thrives on decompression, and people think this is an attacker, it's a bomber, and they rush bases with it, which it's insanely good at, but it just doesn't belong here. G91 pitches up after us. He hit us with the 50 cal a little bit earlier, and you can tell that I'm trying to keep him at about 1.5 kilometers, maybe a little bit less, at least over 1 kilometer, and he will never really be able to get guns on me. Now he stalls a little bit later than me, and he is just going a lot slower, so I'm not really able to get the shot just yet. But we're still going 600, he's almost falling out of the air, and we just do a bit of a flat turn. And you can tell that I'm still maintaining about 600, and it does this with absolutely no issue whatsoever. We line it up behind this G91, and the G91 starts to roll around a little bit. But again, these guns are good, and they have a good amount of range. And just like that, he loses his wing. We go back to the runway, we get some more fuel, rockets, we repair the plane and some ammo, and we go head on with the A4H. We shoot 2 rockets because, well, I have 6, there's only 2 enemies left, so I'm going to not use them sparingly. And the A4H, unfortunately, as predicted, runs back to the base. He just got done ground pounding, and I expected him to go to the runway, so I thought, well, let's just shoot some rockets at him and see if we can kill him before he gets back. Unfortunately, we don't do enough damage, we only managed to get a hit in, and he is still fully operational, but he's climbing or flying towards one of his friendlies. But you can tell that even after the 180, I will catch this guy incredibly quickly. Now he's running to his Saab, that's his friendly, so I know that he's probably going to try to 2v1 me. He's rolling around, I'm just pretending to sit on this guy. I'm going to spray a little bit, and then we're going to switch back to the Saab, dump all of our rockets, and we just carpet bomb the air and blow him straight out of the sky. Now the A4H probably didn't expect his friend to die right there, so after some maneuvers he tries to go back to the runway, but at this point he is way too slow, I'm way too close, and I'm gonna have an absolute field day trying to kill this guy. He does a Cobra, and down he goes. Game after is a little bit more interesting, and I'm using this second so I don't talk over everything. We just climb straight in as we always do. We want to use the energy advantage at the very start, and we want to disrupt the enemies that lose a lot of speed very quickly, like the F3H. Now we don't actually manage to connect anything here, so we're just going to continue on straight, and we're going to fly towards the F100 because he can actually be, well, not so much a threat, but he can be very annoying when you're dealing with a lot of Sabres and other planes like that. Especially planes like the AV-8 and the Jaguar are incredibly annoying because the AIM-9Gs just have a lot of range. The Chauffeurs and the AIM-9Ds on the Ajit are also annoying, but the Chauffeurs don't have that much range, and the AIM-9Ds, well, they can't really lead the missile because it's a caged seeker head. So even though they might be incredibly annoying, they're still definitely manageable. You can tell that I switch on over to the AV-8 here because I don't want to deal with a missile. He's basically hanging in the air, we severe him, and we continue on straight towards the F3H, who is also going incredibly slow. We're not quite able to pull in there. AV-8 launches a missile on us, we just shoot a rocket off, and it's flared almost instantaneously. Do cut the afterburner because that thing is incredibly hot. Second missile comes out, but it's an AIM-9B, not really worried, and I do want to turn into the AV-8 or run away from him enough before he gets within missile range, but due to the F100 I'm forced to go straight, and I'm just going to extend away from the pack over here, and I'm just going to wait for them to break off as this F104 starts reeling me in. He is going to get a little bit close here, but it's not a big issue because the missiles he has are basically a non-issue. Flare it anyway, because I'm not feeling confident that I actually managed to outpull it. I think I pulled a little bit too late. But then we merge with the F104, and in a dogfight I will absolutely stomp this guy. Now I do need it to make him overshoot, because he does lose a lot of energy. So I'm gonna actually zero throttle air brake and try to get him in front of me as fast as I can. But you can tell that the F104 is able to kind of sit on me because he is just going that slow. F104 comes in from the middle of the map and we almost reverse this guy, but we're not quite able to get a shot in, and then Mr. number 2 shows up and luckily for us actually misses us. F104 comes in and both those guys on me are gonna be spraying at me. We get a hit in, but we need to get out of here. I'm expecting both of them to turn around and engage me, and I mean, close enough. One of them does. He's a little bit slow though, and he is giving me a lot of room, so I'm actually able to get away for the time being. I don't want to fly into the pack here, but I'm kind of forced to. I need to get these numbers down because I am not going to be able to win a 1v6 when there is a lot of supersonics in the mix. F86K going super slow. He's busy trying to dodge someone else. We just kind of pick him off on the way to the middle of the battlefield, and then the F3H shows on shows up on our 6 again, while the F-104 is still reeling us in. And he is just constantly accelerating, flying straight at us. I'm forced to dodge missiles, and I'm now forced to turn into these guys. And this right here is probably the worst spot you can be in. Second missile out, F3H peels off, which is good for us. And then the two F-104s come in. And unfortunately they are staggered. So I can't really go for the reversal, because it will set me up for the second guy. So we go vertical. I'm going to try to make these guys a little bit slow. And I'm going to try to energy trap them. A little bit easier said than done. But I'm trying to go for the shot here. Don't quite get it. And now I'm slow. I'm locked in with this guy. And there is a lot of enemies around. So I'm expecting to die anytime here. But then all the enemies just kind of fly away and give me the room that I need to go for the F-104. We get onto a 6. We miss the shot yet again. And at this point, I'm just going to stick it, because I need this guy to die right here. Because it's probably the only chance I'm going to get in the near future. Severe him, back to the hangar. And there come F-104 and F-100 again, together with an AV-8. Now, I'm not sure if the AV-8 has any missiles left. If he does, this game is essentially over. I'm still going about 900, so we dodge underneath the F-104. But unfortunately, he blows my wing smooth off. Try to go head on with the F-104 as a last ditch effort. Dodge the shots instead, because I'm never going to be able to pull in. And then the AV-8 shows up. Now luckily, he doesn't have any missiles, and I'm just able to fly away. Well, kind of for free. The Aidens don't have the best amount of range. They're decently slow, and they lose a lot of speed very quickly. And I'm outrunning everyone. So for now, I'm able to go again back to the runway. We land with the single wing, which it does incredibly easily. We pop the chutes and we take back off. And it really is just that simple. We take back off. It is 2v6. It did show another A32 on there, but he's gonna land and leave, I believe. So after taking off, we see an AV-8 directly above us. And I know he has missiles, because he also went back to land. This is the guy that was just sitting on us, and you can tell that the power this thing has is nothing short of obscene. We just kind of pitch up and we chase after him. The AV-8 does stand a chance in the dogfight, but it depends a little bit on the speed that he is going. He tries to flare the S-24. It doesn't really work out. We saw his wing off. He goes straight down. I was kind of expecting him to go into VTOL and then hover around and shoot missiles at me. Luckily, he simply bailed out. Second guy shows up. Luckily, it's two secluded 1v1s, and the F-100 is just going to fly straight at me. We dump 2 rockets into him, and we get another severe. And just like that, we turn it into a 2v4. And a lot of the planes that we're going to run into aren't really all that scary. The F3H, unfortunately, has a hydrogen bomb resistant coughing baby, so we don't actually manage to do any damage there. But he is somewhat damaged, and he's now going to lose even more speed. Keep looking around as we go vertical. I just want this guy to chase me up, and he will basically instantly stall out. This guy really isn't a threat as long as he's alone. He is a little bit annoying to kill though, because well, he does lose that much speed and he does pull a lot of AOA, but I'm trying to keep it somewhat flat, and you can tell that I'm gonna pull into this incredibly easily. But then my teammate shows up after doing a whole lot of nothing the entire match, and he R3s him right out of the sky. Perfect setup, although it wasn't meant to be one. But you know, sometimes a teammate will quote unquote help you out. F-100 shows up right above us, and we just do the same thing again. We pitch straight up for him. He is kind of busy going for the MiG-21. The MiG-21 probably shoots an R3 at him. He goes to dodge, and instantly I'm onto a 6. And well, he gets sent back to the hangar. And that is kill number 6, I think. Last guy just taking off. AV-8, we shoot our guns, we shoot another rocket, absolute double tap, and we send them straight into the Vietnamese trees. And that is how you play the SU-7. This is how you not play the SU-7. You miss all your shots, you try to peel off. Luckily there's some mountains around, because I know that this guy is gonna shoot all his missiles at me because he thinks I'm a free kill. I do have rockets, I do have terrain. I'm gonna use them both in this case, because I wasn't really feeling all that confident about dodging that missile. We just try to skim the ground again. We pitch up a little bit, but luckily he just peels off. It's a Hunter, and I'm not sure which one it is, because we did get up tiered, and he might have AIM-9Js. Now the AIM-9Js don't have the most amount of range, but they are still a little bit scary considering we don't have flares and we only have one rocket left. He has 2 missiles, so I need to play this correctly. I'm gonna get a little bit of separation just so I can actually turn in and not give him the opportunity to sit directly on my 6 and shoot missiles at me. At this kind of range, those missiles aren't gonna do anything, and it's an FGA 9. Now that's not really an issue. We just go vertical. I try to pull behind this guy, but then the AV-8 shows up and I am forced to peel off. We're gonna go head on with this guy and we're gonna see if I can kill him before he turns this into a 2v1. The guns do the job, but I double tap him with a rocket that completely missed, but we're gonna go call it a double tap regardless. And I'm gonna do the same thing again. I want to give him a high aspect shot as he dives on me, preferably if he's going a little bit too fast. He's diving, I'm climbing, so now we're actually gonna merge at a speed where I'm a little bit slower, and this is going to allow me onto his 6 almost immediately. And once you have the position against the hunter, there is just very little he is going to do. Now he notices this, he's gonna try to extend, but he notices also that I'm gonna be catching him incredibly quickly. You can tell that he does pull a little bit smoother, but when you reverse your turn like that, or if he doesn't, it doesn't really matter because I will completely outpower him. I will get a very easy shot and we'll just need to line it up. Aircraft destroyed, onto the next dogfight. F3H comes in, and yet again this one is not a hydrogen bomb resistant coughing baby, and we shoot him straight out of the air. Lost tail control, don't have to worry about him anymore. G91 expected him to pull in, but I missed the rocket anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He ignored me altogether and we merged with the J-32B. Now this is a plane that is kind of like the SU-7, except a subsonic variant. It does turn a bit better, and in a prolonged fight they can be a bit strong. They have about the same thrust as something like the MiG-21 SMT, and you definitely notice it. But it's also kind of heavy, it doesn't have the best aerodynamics, and at the end of the day I can treat him like, well, a regular subsonic. I just need to be careful if I actually get into a dogfight, because that thing is kind of strong. I'm not sure how well it fares. I haven't played that thing in a very long while, but I know that I have the speed to contest him. So we merge with him, we go up a little bit, and I decide to not take the fight right now because I have this feeling that there is gonna be someone that comes out of the cloud. So I just kind of dive out. I'm gonna leave him slow and dry up there, and we just look for our next victim. And that is going to be the F-100. He's flying at us at a reasonable high speed, so we're just going to dump him with missiles again. That's double tap, boom boom, that's severe, and now we can actually take care of the J-32B. It's a good thing I peeled off because I had a feeling someone was gonna come for me, and that's exactly what he did. J-32B comes in, we're going about 1,000 in a turn, which is about his max speed, or 1,100, sorry. And again, high aspect shot, we just go vertical. I have so much more speed than him, and I just go into this very shallow corkscrew upward, and then we go into a bit of an Immelman or a split test, and we climb straight towards him. Now the issue here is that he's too slow, he can't really do anything, and I'm gonna be catching him at a very high rate, and I'm just waiting for him to do something, and there it is, he turns in. And as he turns in, we shoot another rocket. He actually dodges us, and I just miss. But then I notice the angle, zero throttle, pull right behind him, and we just AOA him straight out of the air. He goes for a swim, and then we go for the last few clips here. We have a scimitar that kind of pulls in front of us. Completely dogshit missile launch, but it's okay because we finish him off with the guns anyway. And this is why I wanted to show you this clip. I don't have many examples of fighting planes like the Electric Lightning, but they are kind of annoying to deal with because they do turn very well. They have a good missile, it's not great, but it's good enough to shoot something as fat and flareless as the SU-7 is. But he is gonna show up any moment now. J-35 going super slow. I should be able to pick this off relatively easily, but I'm going a little bit fast. And I just whiffed the shot. I mean, let's be honest here, I just can't aim sometimes. And there is the Lightning. F-84F in front of us, probably the saddest plane you can run into. Really not an issue. But he's gonna make it so that I can't really focus on him because we have the Electric Lightning coming in. Underlead a little bit, Lightning shows up here. So we do the same thing. I do want to get him a little bit close and high aspect shot. I don't want to deal with those missiles. And we just go vertical. We don't have much fuel left. That's another issue with this plane. The fuel burn is relatively high. F-84F is trying to pitch up for us again. He's going super slow. And that means you're a prime target for the hydrogen bombs. We just shoot 3 off, we get a crit. And then we turn back in towards the lightning. Now I was expecting him to somewhat turn with me. That's why I'm overusing my afterburner. I should have cut it over a little bit. I was trying to maintain speed. I was trying to lock him into a fight. But he's kind of playing it passively. And once I notice that, we're going to tune it back to 102%. But even on 102%, the afterburner does consume a decent amount of fuel. So we're just going to cut it off completely. We're going to turn in, give him a high aspect shot, wait for him to merge, and we just go vertical. We turn the afterburner back on, and I want to drain this guy of energy, as that thing also loses a decent amount of energy in a turn, especially when you stamp on the elevator. But I noticed that he's just trying to raid fight me, and that is something that I don't necessarily want to do. So I cut underneath him, go flat, don't allow him to do a split test after me, and he just peels off. And this is a little bit of an issue, because I can't really afterburn after him, and he's going a lot faster than I am, because, well, he conserved his speed a little bit better. I expect him to merge with the mountain, and I'm gonna cut him off to the right to, well, cut him off, and also to give him some room to make him turn. And I'm expecting him, by looking at his trajectory, to go for a reversal. So instead of going for the shot, I just pull left, I go for the distance, and his reversal turns into him, well, giving me the easiest shot he could have given me. Not the most interesting fight, but I hope it conveys the story a decent amount. And then here we have an F-25, and I just want to talk about the guns for a second. They have good range, they have good velocity, and you can touch people from pretty good ranges. But again, against old legacy 9.0 top tiers, they sometimes just don't do anything. He's going to try and slow down, he's trying to make me overshoot, we get another hit on him, and it just doesn't work out. With this third shot there, and now my teammates are going to be licking their lips in order to get the last kill of the match. And that's also all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.